and you guys can boot Tobias Harris all night. You can hear Tom McGinnis calling on 97.3 ESPN. And of course, we'll have Yankees Dodgers Game 5 of the World Series in progress following that. As always, you guys can join the conversation at 609 403 0973. Your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how Dave Weinberg is back for a Weinberg Wednesday. We'll talk with him coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. But I want to get to some Eagles conversation because I think one of the elements of the Eagles on this 3-game winning streak has been, you remember back in the day when it was Denny Green, they are who we thought they were. And I asked the question, are the Eagles who we thought they were? Because I was listening to Jason Kelsey on the New Heights podcast. And, sometimes when you're listening to former athletes, it definitely creates a bit of nostalgia at times. Others give you a bit of a Captain Obvious feel. But I thought what Jason said on the pod was interesting because he said that the Eagles' offense is finally playing up to preseason expectations. And I want you guys to hear what he said because I'm starting to wonder, are the Eagles, as currently constructed, the team that we thought they were?
Jalen Hurts played his best game of the year, in part because all the weapons are there. The offensive line made him feel really comfortable. Him and the coaches continue to get on the same page, especially with new play caller Kellen Moore. And he just felt comfortable back there. As long as that continues to trend in that way, you're going to see a great team from Philadelphia because they have the talent. They have great coaches and great scheming. Awesome to see. This is what I think everybody expected to see out of Philadelphia going into the season.
Last 3 games, the Eagles are averaging 28.3 points per game. For the bye week, they're averaging 21.5 points per game. So that means the Eagles are averaging a literal touchdown more since the bye week. And for as much as all of us, myself included, all of us were like, man, this is ridiculous. Talking about we're in harmony, was a great bye week, blah, blah, blah. We all thought it was just rhetoric from this team. But is there something to it? Did they literally come out of the bye week in a better place than they entered? Well, it at least looks like that for the last 3 games. We all agree that offensively, this Eagles team, on paper, should be one of the best offenses in football. They have a high-caliber offensive line. They have 2 of the top receivers in the NFL and arguably the best duo of receivers in the NFL, depending on who you ask. They have one of the best running backs in all of football. And they have a quarterback who 2 years ago was a Heisman Trophy runner-up. Sorry, a MVP runner-up. He was also a Heisman Trophy runner-up in 2019, but he was the runner-up for MVP 2 years ago. So on paper, you have a very good team. So why is it that all of a sudden this team, as I said, went out and struggled? Was it just because of A.J. Brown? Was it just because they didn't have the preseason reps together? More from Jason Kelsey on the New Heights podcast.
Ever since A.J. went down before Tampa, it's felt like the offense has been a little bit not disconnected, but, just very spotty. And it hasn't really been able to find that cohesiveness, that timing, and they had it this past week against the Bengals.
Jalen Hurts has played 36 games as a quarterback in his career without A.J. Brown and 33 games with A.J. Brown. With A.J. Brown, he has a 66% completion percentage, and he has a plus 28 touchdown to interception ratio. Without A.J. Brown, he has a 60% completion percentage with a plus 9 touchdown to interception ratio. His quarterback rating is almost 10 points higher with A.J. Brown versus without. So is A.J. Brown now in that Lane Johnson category where if you're playing without him, you're in trouble? It certainly may be that way because there is no rational reason for us to turn around and say, why do the Eagles have a losing record when Lane Johnson doesn't play versus when he does? Well, your quarterback is grossly impacted by the loss of one player of his wide receivers. So, how much of the Eagles playing well the last 3 weeks is the bye week? How much of it is A.J. Brown? How much of it is Sirianni and Hurts being in harmony? How much of it is the Eagles getting the running game going? Remember, in the Nick Sirianni era, the Eagles are now 4-1 when they run the ball more than they pass it. You guys let me know which it is for you at 609-403-0970. That's the text board and your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. When you think about this team, what is the reason why they went from a team that was averaging 21 points a game to a team that was all averaging 28 points per game? Why did they go from a team that going into the bye week, we all had a ton of questions about, and we were already starting to turn up the hot seat on the head coach, and we were starting to wonder, is the quarterback a good enough player to be the franchise quarterback? And now we're completely the opposite end of the spectrum. The last 3 games, the offense is explosive. The quarterback looks like at least somewhere close to what he was in 2022. And the team looks dynamic. And Nick Sirianni just keeps on winning, right? You know, I brought up the point yesterday on 97.3 ESPN with Mike Gill on the Sports Bash. We were talking about, you know, the contrast of Sirianni with other coaches. And, you know, my mind kept going back to the reality that Nick Sirianni is 39-19 as the Eagles head coach. I mean, is that something we just dismiss? Are we saying that Nick Sirianni, his teams win in spite of him or because of him? So many times, we as sports fans, sports analysts, whatever your way you want to classify yourself, the reality is that all of us have been in positions where we have incorrectly evaluated people. We have all been in situations where we have incorrectly classified somebody. Right now, of all of the Eagles coaches who have coached in at least 48 games for the Eagles franchise, Nick Sirianni is 10 games over that threshold. He has the best winning percentage of any head coach in Eagles franchise history. He's more than Greasy Neal. He's more than Andy Reid. He's more than Buddy Ryan. More than Doug Peterson. Better than Dick Vermeil. And with that winning percentage, Nick Sirianni has earned his team 3 straight seasons of postseasons. There are only 3 coaches in Eagles franchise history to ever coach more playoff games than Nick Sirianni. Andy Reid, Dick Vermeil, and Doug Peterson. What do those 3 have in common with Nick Sirianni? They have all led the Eagles to a Super Bowl appearance. So, to Jason Kelsey's point, are the Eagles the team we expected? And if they are, why? 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN. Mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Jerry from Brigantine chimes in. He says, let's put it this way. Says Jerry in Brigantine, I am putting $100 on the Eagles to win the NFC. That's from Jerry in Brigantine. It's bold. It's a bold move by Jerry in Brigantine because a couple things. One, I think the problem in the NFC this year, and which is why, and it's not Jerry and Brigantine's fault, this is an NFL problem. There is so much parity in the league right now that it's hard to argue against any of the top 8, 10 teams in the league from being championship contenders. It's not like if you told me, right, that the Lions, Eagles, 49ers, that any of those three are going to win the NFC, I would be like, oh, you're nuts. You know, if you told me that the Arizona Cardinals, the Seattle Seahawks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the NFC, I'd be like, all right, you got to explain this one to me. You're sounding a little nutty. And maybe you indulged too much of that pumpkin spice brew the other day or something like that kind of deal. But listen, the Eagles right now, I'm looking at the odds right now. They're plus 700 to win the NFC. The only teams ahead of them are the 49ers, plus 500, and the Lions are plus 290. It's pretty good value. So if Jerry and Brigantine is right, and he puts 100 on the Eagles, he can win $7,000. Okay? If I'm doing my math properly, which I will fully admit, when you're a history major, math is not your strong suit. Okay, let me see here. If you bet 100, you'd win. Okay, so you'd win 700, and you would get back 800. All right. Well, I was a zero off. But the point being, it's a pretty good win if Jerry and Brigantine's right. Plus Dave Weinberg, if that's a smart bet or not. Coming up next for a Weinberg Wednesday with me, Josh Hennig, on 973 ESPN FM and a 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles host the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 9 of the 2024 season, Sunday afternoon.
And he's brought down for a loss by the team. What a play by the rookie.
Listen to all the action with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick, with pregame coverage starting at 3 p.m. and kickoff at 4 p.m. This is the play-by-play home of the Philadelphia Eagles, 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the gallery. Go to the Fanatics Sportsbook. Go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
My office has its ups and downs.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, one thing's for certain. If you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast, and you can invite your top choices to apply. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So, for any kind of office,
I'm really going places in my office.
My office has everything you could ever want.
count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
What's better than one win? 3 wins? With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NFL Week 9, the Eagles will be home on Sunday as they take on Jacksonville. Philadelphia winning 3 straight, 5-2, half game behind Washington for the lead in the NFC East, facing a Jaguars team that's 2-6 with 4 of their losses coming on the road. The Eagles are second in the NFL in rushing, averaging 24 points per game. Catch all the action of Eagles football Sunday right here on 97.3 ESPN, starting at 3 o'clock. The Sixers hosting the Detroit Pistons tonight, coming off an overtime win Sunday against Indiana. Paul George and Joel Embiid out for tonight's game, as both have not played in the first 3 games of the year. The Pistons at 0-4. Flyers are back home Thursday. They'll take on the St. Louis Blues. Philadelphia shutting out Boston Tuesday night 2-0, getting 23 saves in net from Samuel Ersson. And the World Series Game 5 tonight in New York. Dodgers leading the Yankees 3-1 after the Yankees took Game 4 on Tuesday 11-4. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
New Jersey, this is Lieutenant Governor Tahisha Wade. Vote in person on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th, or early in person starting Saturday, October 26th, or vote by mail. Details at vote.nj.gov.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zero. October ends with one more very warm, completely dry day tomorrow. Great news for all your Halloween festivities. November begins Friday with some active weather. A few clouds tonight, low temperature dips only to 59. Very warm tomorrow, mostly sunny and dry, high of 80. Chance of a shower Friday morning, then breezy and turning cooler eventually. High on Friday, still 77, around 60 this weekend. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Life can be tough, and sometimes it's hard to find someone who will listen. But we want you to know there's always someone you can turn to, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is completely confidential and here for you 24/7 every day of the year. You don't have to struggle alone. Call 988 and let us help. We're here ready to listen because your life matters. Call or text 988 or chat at 988lifeline.org/chat. A message from New Jersey Human Services.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Maxey for 3, outside left, bullseye. He puts it in. A crossover dribble on McBride, and he pours in a triple.
It's Sixers Pistons tonight. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll check back on the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. But right now, joining me for another Weinberg Wednesday, of course, you catch his extra point columns over at 97.3ESPN.com and his 2-minute drill after every Eagles game. Dave Weinberg is back on 97.3 ESPN. And I can report to the folks out there, Dave Weinberg is not sitting in his car.
Yeah, Augusta Brewery's having a Halloween party tonight, so we're we're kind of old for that kind of stuff. So this is a home version today.
So really quick, because I mentioned this earlier and I kind of got a non-answer from people. So what is your position on Halloween in the holiday rankings?
Oh boy. Oh man. Okay, let's see.
Well, I can tell you it's not in my top 5.
No. Okay. Let me think. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, 4th of July are all ahead of it. I don't know what else is there.
What else?
I mean, Labor Day. I don't know. Let me see.
St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, New
Okay,
Year's Day.
Yeah, it's probably like 7th or 8th for me. Yeah, it's not a huge deal. I mean, it was a bigger deal when my kids were little, and now that my grandkids are into it, I guess it's kind of move up the rankings a little bit. But I'm not a huge Halloween guy.
See, that's kind of my position. My position is I would care more if I had kids. You know what I mean?
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mhm.
But it's like as an adult, I don't see, like, unless I'm invited like a party with friends. You know what I mean? And it's like people are having a house party, you hang out with some friends, you all dress up in costumes, you have a couple drinks, whatever. But like aside from that, I don't see like the infatuation people have. Like people like going like horror movie marathons this month and like that's I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a little much. I mean, people decorating their houses. When we put pumpkins out and stuff like that, but we're not, stringing lights and having like, mummies on the front yard and all that stuff. That just seems a little bit of overkill to me. I mean, we get a huge contingent of trick or treaters though in our neighborhood, so that kind of makes it fun. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan like I used to be.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, well, we'll move on from that. I figured I'd ask you because
Sure.
the one thing I know with you, Dave, you at least have an opinion about everything I ask. So, I don't have to worry about you giving me the look of like, I don't have an answer for this, and let's change the subject. It's like some people do.
Oh no, not at all. That was fun.
So here's where I want to start with you because I was listening to Jason Kelsey on his podcast this morning,
Okay.
and Kelsey says that, and you know what I'll do? I'll play you the audio, and I want you to tell me, do you agree with this? Do you agree with Kelsey's assessment of the Eagles' offense? Take a listen.
Jalen Hurts played his best game of the year, in part because all the weapons are there. The offensive line made him feel really comfortable. Him and the coaches continue to get on the same page, especially with new play caller Kellen Moore. And he just felt comfortable back there. As long as that continues to trend in that way, you're going to see a great team from Philadelphia because they have the talent. They have great coaches and great scheming. Like, awesome to see. This is what I think everybody expected to see out of Philadelphia going into the season.
So is he right? Is this the team that we expected to see?
Last 2 games, yes, definitely. I'm not ready to say like they're a great offense. I mean, I got to see a little bit more of it, but so far so good. I mean, he's certainly trending in the right directions. I don't know about the great coaching, but the talent on offense is certainly there. And it looks like Jalen's kind of getting a little more comfortable with Kellen Moore's way of doing things, and Saquon's having an outstanding year, of course. And yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what happens when Dallas Goedert comes back. It's going to be even more talented. But yeah, I mean, so far so good. It's hard not to like what's going on there.
You just mentioned something. I want to hit on something because you mentioned about the you don't agree with the great coaching, which I think we both can. You and I both have our separate issues with Sirianni, but it's like, what do you do when all of the players like a guy, but nobody outside the building likes a coach? Like how do you even approach that if you're being objective?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the players that matter, right? But other than Chip Kelly, I don't remember players ever not liking somebody. So I think whoever's in charge, they're going to support and back because that's their job, I guess, and they want to keep it. So, and he's the guy who makes the decisions as far as who starts, who doesn't, who gets the ball, who doesn't. It seems like so. Yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, being a fan is way different than being a player, obviously, or in journalist is a little different too. I don't tend to take what players say with a whole I kind of take it with a grain of salt because, like I said, other than Chip, I don't remember guys actually like disliking a coach anyway. So
It's just it's weird to me because it's one of those deals where, like, you look back in Eagles history, like they hated Andy Reid at first, right? You know, people were making fun of Doug because he couldn't put a sentence together at first, right? You know, but it was like people still love Buddy Ryan. He never won a playoff game, you know?
yeah, yeah, it's a strange relationship. Yes.
Right, and so it's like one of those deals where it's like I feel like I almost end up having to defend these guys when it's like I'm not a fan of these coaches necessarily, but it's like you're trying to explain to people why when they're watching a game, when the fan, Dave, or you or me watching the game, whether we're at the stadium or we're watching on our TV ourselves, we're seeing, well, this is obvious, and they're not doing it. But then you got to explain to people, well, there's a reason why this guy is 39-19 as a head coach. It's just like, it's hard to make that connection sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, popularity goes a long way too with fans. I mean, like you said, you mentioned Buddy Ryan. He was enormously a huge fan favorite. No doubt about it. With the way he conducted himself, very boisterous, very confident, I guess cocky, and so people kind of gravitated to that. And they kind of warmed up to Andy, obviously, after he started getting the NFC Championship games and stuff, and Doug also. So, and even Ray Rhodes, he was a huge fan favorite too, because of his personality.
Right.
It's really hard it's kind of hard to separate the personality from the performance sometimes, and fans kind of make that mistake. I mean, I don't know. Do they like Sirianni? It doesn't seem like they do. I don't know.
Dave, I don't think anyone outside the Eagles organization genuinely likes the guy.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't either.
I don't think they hate him. Like, I don't think anyone's like, I hate this guy. But I think there's a lot of people who look at Sirianni with the antics and the weird isms, and just they look at him like most people would look at like an odd homeless person if you're walking down the street. You know what I mean? Like they don't look at Sirianni as like a normal coach.
Yeah, he doesn't really ingratiate himself, does he? I mean, just the way he acts and the way he, like the shaving his head and bringing his kids to the press conferences, drawing with fans, home and away, drawing with players. It's just that it's not the way a head coach is supposed to conduct themselves. I mean, you don't have to be, stoic and machine like, but a robot like, but you can't. He goes over the line too often for my taste. I just don't. I'm not a fan of his at all, to be honest with you.
Like, for example, like a guy who's odd, who's a head coach. We're talking with Dave Weinberg for a Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN. At Dave Weinberg 19 on the Twitter X platform. One guy who's odd, but people don't look at him the way they look at Sirianni, is Jim Harbaugh. Harbaugh is a strange bird, both Jim and John. Jim more than John. Okay?
Yes.
And but Jim, people like Jim because like they look at him being odd, like that goofy uncle that shows up to the holidays. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when Harbaugh did that whole thing where when people were worried about his recent heart incident a couple weeks ago, right? And he gets up at the press conference and he says, well, the doctor says I have the heart of an athlete. So, maybe I just got, steel organs. People are like, what? And it's like, but like no one looks at it in the way they look at Sirianni. You know what I mean?
No. Well, he's got kind of more of a pedigree, obviously, right? I mean, he played quarterback in the NFL.
But he's still weird. Like that.
Yeah,
whole
he is
thing,
very weird.
Like back in 20, so I don't know if you heard the story. So in 2018, Jim Harbaugh explained he doesn't eat chicken because chickens are nervous animals, and he doesn't want their nervousness, overlaying to him. So
ingesting it, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he didn't want to ingest their nervousness, right? So he said he'll eat eggs because they haven't deformed into full chickens yet. Like that was his whole explanation. And I remember when he said it, people were like, "What is wrong with this guy?" So then years later, he admitted that during COVID, because he had all this downtime, he started his own chicken farm. And he believes that he never got sick not because of doctors, but because he started eating chicken.
Yeah, that's out there. No question about that. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nobody treats Jimmy Harbaugh like they do Nick Sirianni. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess there's like, the difference between being weird and being just like, I don't know, crazy. I I kind of like Jim. I know some people don't. I like John a whole lot. I mean, I got to know him very well when he was a special
Sure, yeah.
teams coordinator and linebackers and defensive coach with the Eagles. And he's a genuine, passionate, really well versed guy who knows his stuff. And Jim, I don't know as well. Obviously, I don't know him anywhere near like I know John. But yeah, he's definitely odd. There's no question about that. The Sirianni's just doesn't come across as like endearing the way Jim does, though. It kind of grates on me. I don't know why.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the word you use endearing. There's nothing endearing about Sirianni. It's just all pyrotechnics and no substance.
Right, exactly right. And then the stuff about the more he tries to portray himself as a Philly guy and wearing the t-shirts and this and that, it just that turns off. That comes across as phony to me.
So now Doug is coming back this Sunday. What are your thoughts on? I mean, Doug's having a tough time down there in Jacksonville.
Yeah, very tough. Yeah.
Although I will say they've started playing better since he removed the play calling responsibilities from Press Taylor, his old buddy. So I guess that might be the only thing that saves Doug is that he took back the reins of the ship.
Yeah, they're just a snake bitten team. Like you saw last week, taking the lead on Green Bay, and then the defense is horrendous, and just give it right back. Their secondary's trash. They just lost Christian Kirk for the rest of the year, the wide receiver. It's almost like a lost season already for them. I feel bad for Doug because I do generally like the guy, and he gave the Eagles fans something they never had, and he'll always be a legend here. But yeah, there's no question he's having a tough time, and I'll be shocked if the Eagles don't win this pretty easily.
The one coach I think for the Eagles, though, that most people do have a positive perspective on. Maybe they don't love the guy, but they at least look at him in a positive way, Dave, is Vic Fangio. And probably in part because of the fact that Vic says what he means what he says, and he'll even tell some of the reporters, why are you asking me that question, which is pretty funny when he does that.
Yeah.
I do say we got to give the defense credit because the defense has gotten better because they have 28 quarterback pressures in the last 3 games, whereas the previous 4 games they had 23. So,
right.
They're not always getting the sack, Dave, but at least they're getting in the quarterback's vicinity. And, yeah, they only had 1 sack on Sunday. But, listen, when you get in Joe Burrow's face 7 times and you move him off his spot and then you outscore the Bengals 27-7 in the second half of that game, I think it's about time to maybe say, you know what, Vic, you're figuring this out, hat tip.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he got off to a rough start, no question about it. But the defense is the reason why they are where they are, in my opinion. They're playing lights out right now. I think Cooper DeJean, the addition of him, has made a world of difference. And the pass rush, like you mentioned, is getting there. So maybe you don't get the sacks, but you're making the quarterback, like you said, do things he doesn't want to do or before he wants to do them. And that helps everybody. That helps the linebackers. That helps the secondary, everybody. So it's there's no question that they're playing at a higher level now because of it.
With all that being said, Dave, should Howie Roseman make a deal before the deadline?
Yeah, I like for who? I mean, I'm not giving up.
What do they need, do you think?
Boy, offensively, not much. Defensively, not much. There's been talk of like Max Crosby and guys like that, but they're not on the market. So, I don't really see the need to get one, to be honest with you. I mean, it seems like the depth is pretty good. Their lineups are pretty strong. I'm I honestly don't know that they should. How about you?
Well, I think they should do something defensively because you never know. Like I was listening to Chris Long the other day, and he talked about when the Eagles acquired Jay Ajayi, and he talked about
Yep.
he said, Chris Long was like, nobody thought we needed a running back. He said, but he said sometimes you just need another guy at a position to help, for the long run, for the stretch of the season. So
yeah, I can see that. Maybe a running back wouldn't be a bad idea because I don't know that. Excuse me. I don't know that Gainwell was like the huge backup that you really need. I might want to find someone else that can complement Barkley a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's to
Excuse
me,
me,
I would
sorry.
go for it. You got to do there, Dave Weinberg, trying to do the segment with me, but people are calling him. He's
Yeah,
a popular guy.
we're like the one.
So you good? You good, Dave?
We're like the one neighbor. We're the one old. We're part of the old people that still have house landlines. Which I keep telling my wife we don't need because 5 people call us, and they all have cell phones. So why do we need this? But she's
I
old
mean,
school.
listen,
So.
my parents hung on to the landline for a while, but then once they realized that it was costing them more to keep the landline than not
Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
so now it's like it's my dad is now a Bitmoji expert because of the cell phones. So
Gotcha.
he sends me the Bitmojis. My mom sends me the gifs or the gifs. So they went from the people with the landline to the people who they're practically like Gen Zers. It's
I gotcha.
so it went from one end to the other. And don't get me wrong, my dad isn't young. My dad's in his early 70s. So
Okay.
But he was a computer tech programmer for years. So he's
Okay. Credit to him for keeping up with the technology and stuff. Then
yeah. My dad's also the guy who probably could walk into most businesses and like redo their entire systems.
Wow.
So he definitely is not the normal person his age. But
I got you. Yep.
I digress. So about guys they can acquire, it's interesting because to me, if you would have asked me before the Bengals game, Dave, I would have said pass rusher.
Yeah.
Now after the game, I mean, I kind of feel like they need somebody on defense, but I don't know who that would be.
Maybe defensive end. I mean, I don't know that Huff has really he hasn't really done much. Yeah. So you want to cut ties and or at least find someone to fill that role and provide some depth in the rotation on the outside. I could see that happening. But again, that's gonna if you wanted an elite pass rusher, that's gonna cost you an arm and a leg, and I don't know that they would. I don't know if it's worth that.
Yeah, I mean, I know the one rumor out there is about Josie Jewell, who plays for the Panthers. He played a couple of years for Fangio in Denver. He had like 100 tackles under Fangio in Denver, and that could be like a depth linebacker guy they just kind of put in there. And like, I could see that. The guy I keep throwing out there is Harold Landry, the pass rusher for the Titans. The Titans are in sell mode right now. They're just like, they're realizing they're bad and they're not getting good anytime soon. Like they just traded their best. The Titans traded their best linebacker to Seattle last week.
Oh,
Ernest
goodness.
Jones.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, to me, it's like, well, if the Titans are selling, well, let's take your pass rusher. Let's take Harold Landry. And,
sure.
But the problem is, Dave, you know how it is. These organizations and their egos, and they gave Huff $51 million. And it's like, are you going to admit that was a bad move,
Right. They're not going to, yeah. This year, anyway.
Yeah, right. Maybe not this year. Maybe they trade him in the offseason or something like that. But
yeah, that could be. Yeah. Yep.
Dave Weinberg. Weinberg Wednesdays, Extra Point columns at 97.3 ESPN.com. And, of course, his 2-minute drill after every Eagles game, which will be a little bit later this week because the Eagles play at 4 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock. So does that mean, Dave, you're going to get more done with the kids and the grandkids before the game in this situation?
Yeah, it's a distinct possibility, yeah.
It's like instead of maybe having breakfast, it's lunch kind of deal.
Oh, no, it's still breakfast. Yeah, that's always
still breakfast?
That's every week, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was like, hey, this week we get to do lunch, or
not normally. Well, probably be some playtime in there though.
Gotcha. All right, Dave. Well, I appreciate you jumping on as always, and we'll talk soon.
My pleasure, Josh. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Josh Hennick here on 97.3 ESPN. And, listen, as I said earlier, I know tomorrow's Halloween. I don't care. I really don't care. I genuinely feel like certain holidays are more for like people with kids than they are adults. Like for me, my favorite holidays are Thanksgiving and Christmas and 4th of July and any holiday that involves, good vibes, good feelings, positive memories. I genuinely don't remember almost anything I ever did for Halloween as a kid. And it's not because my parents were bad parents or anything. It was just that for me, there was never a point in my childhood where I got excited about any of that stuff. For me, when I was a kid, I always looked at Halloween as, oh, that's the holiday people get candy. Like, I never looked at it as a legitimate holiday, like Christmas or Thanksgiving or 4th of July. Maybe part of it is also the fact that no one's ever off for Halloween. We get days off for the other holidays. So maybe Halloween is more like a fraudulent holiday anyway. No one gets time off for it. When you're younger, you get days off of school for President's Day weekend, for Memorial Day weekend. You're not in school for 4th of July or Labor Day weekend. You're off for Thanksgiving. You're off for Christmas. You're off for New Year's. So maybe subconsciously I was programmed to not care about Halloween because I never had a day off for Halloween. So subconsciously my mind is saying I should probably go to break because I'm digging way too deep into this. Josh Hennick here on 97.3 ESPN live in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. More of your texts coming up on the side. Steve from Ventnor. Get the you and more. 609-403-0973.
The World Series continues on ESPN Radio. The Yankees survive a must-win Game 4. Can they survive once again? Or will the Dodgers be crowned World Series champions? Game 5 of the Dodgers and Yankees.
Listen to the World Series Game 5 tonight on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins after Sixers basketball.
Brought to you by Shore Physicians Group. Be well connected. Visit shorephysiciansgroup.com.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles. Make a selection from our seasonal food menu, then unwind with one of our sensational cocktails. The South Philly Sizzle, made with Bird Gang Habanero Tequila. Stateside pumpkin pie featuring stateside vodka, rum chata, and pumpkin puree. Delicious fiery sangria, tasty spiced apple punch, or the campfire mule. At participating locations for a limited time, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles. We're teaming up with Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown for a new wing flavor this football season. A.J. Brown's Sweet Heat Wings. We combine the sweet and spicy flavors AJ loves, plus a portion of the proceeds benefit the AJ Brown Foundation and its focus on empowering underprivileged youth. At participating locations for a limited time, the official sports bar of your Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
With Cybersecurity Awareness Month winding down, LifeLock wants to remind you to update your software. These updates are used to patch up security issues that identity thieves can exploit to gain access to your personal info. But for comprehensive identity theft protection, there's LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to more uses of your personal info and fixes identity theft issues that arise. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use my name as your promo code, Clay.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire, or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future Auto Repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-630-9723 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. Call 800-564-9170 now. 800-564-9170. That's 800-564-9170. What do you have to lose? Call 800-564-9170. Again, 800-564-9170.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Fall into savings. Sage Jewelers, the real jeweler, is offering the latest in diamond jewelry.
Sage Jewelers has GIA diamonds and the most exquisite diamond engagement rings. Come see the selection of lab-grown diamond and fashion jewelry, all up to 40% off. Plus, the Sage Jewelers watch selection is second to none.
Sage Jewelers expert jewelers can also customize anything.
Sage Jewelers, your fall into savings headquarters, all up to 40% off on Tilton Road in Northfield.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. You already know that. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-473-9933. 800-473-9933. 800-473-9933.
Tax relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
When you experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence.
Hey, South Jersey homeowners. Autumn is here and fall season means fence season. Are you dreaming of a new fence or railing, but you don't want to break the bank? Our pro tip of the day, install in the fall for big savings. As your exclusive Active Yards dealer, you can choose from our inventory of privacy, decorative, security, and pull fence solutions by Active Yards. No matter what your needs are, we have a high-quality, maintenance-free Active Yard solution that is right for you. Don't miss our Install in the Fall savings coupled with our no-money-down, interest-free financing so together we can make your dream a reality. So give us a call today or go online to DennisvilleFence.com to request a free estimate and be sure to mention that you want to install in the fall.
Experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence. 1-800-499-FENCE.
Visit DennisvilleFence.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Game Night being brought to you by Boxing Insider Promotions, the event of the fall season. They are back at Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City, featuring not one, not two, but 3 undefeated South Jersey fighters in action. Of course, Mr. Atlantic City, just in time, Justin Figueroa back in action. He gets to continue his undefeated streak, as well as Absegami High School graduate Bruce Selden Jr. and some of the fastest hands in all of New Jersey, Francisco Cisco Kid Rodriguez, They're all undefeated, and you can see them all in action, plus some of the top young fighters in boxing today, all competing on November 16th. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com to see Boxing Insider Promotions' next event, the boxing event of the holiday season at Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. All right. As promised, your text coming in at 609-403-0973. By the way, George and Galloway, I don't know what you're thanking me for, so you're going to have to be a little more specific because you sent me the Office thank you, the Steve Carell gif, and I'm not fully sure what you're thanking me for, but you're welcome. Stephen Ventnor chimes in. Let me get back to the top of his point. He says the Eagles should try to acquire Trayvon Walker. He's a true 3-down defensive end, not just a pass rusher. He can also kick inside too, considering the Jags just traded their left tackle. They are open for business. We need someone who can rush the passer and keep running backs from getting to the secondary. So, two things on Walker. One is I like the idea. I'm not sure if he's the best option. And the reason I say that is because when I look at Trayvon Walker, I think that there's going to be a little bit of an eye roll with a lot of people, Steve, to here we go again, another Georgia guy. Walker was a bit overdrafted a couple years ago anyway. I think he is a very gifted football player, but I think he still needs a lot of refinement. And unless you're not giving up a major draft pick to get him, I don't know if that's worth doing. And the problem is, I'm assuming Jacksonville is going to want a significant return for a trade like that. Yeah, he has a lot of untapped potential, and he's very gifted and very talented. But I don't know if you can get him from Jacksonville. Like, I think you can get a guy like Harold Landry for a lot less than it would probably take to get Trayvon Walker. I think that's the reason why Josie Jewell has been discussed by some reports, is because you can get him probably for a 6th or 7th round pick, whereas you probably can't get Trayvon Walker for anything less than probably a 2nd round pick at this point. Jeff from Ocean City asks on the text board, says, hey, any thoughts on the over-under tonight? Nice hit last night. Yeah, we hit the over in the 5th inning, basically. So that worked out. My inclination tonight would be to go with the under because I think it's a better pitching matchup, and I think Cole is probably going to have a really good game tonight. If I was to make a lean, if I was to make a pick tonight, I think it's more likely that Soto or Stanton hit a home run tonight than I think that the game is going to go over. Because I think Flaherty is still prone to giving up the long ball. Yes, he has pitched that well at times since the Dodgers acquired him, especially in the postseason. But Flaherty is not a guy who has done a great job at Jack Flaherty is not an elite pitcher. He has elite stuff, but he is not an elite pitcher. I mean, you're talking about a guy who, I mean, I got to double check this, but I think he gave up a lot of home runs this year as a pitcher. Yeah, he allowed 24 homers this year. 24 homers in 28 starts. So he allowed almost a home run per start during the regular season. What did he do in the postseason? Let's see here. How many home runs did he allow in the postseason here? He has allowed 4 home runs in 4 appearances. There you go. He allowed 2 homers to the Padres, 1 to the Mets, then 1 to the Yankees. So I knew about the Yankees one because I saw that game in game 1. So, yeah, I think that home run off Flaherty is more likely than the game going over. That would be my lean, at least. All right. Sixers basketball coming up on 97.3 ESPN. Oh, Georgia Galloway says he agrees with me that Halloween is overrated. Yeah, totally overrated. To me, the best thing about Halloween is all the local businesses who come up with these creative like dishes and drinks and stuff for the holiday season. That's what's cool about Halloween. Everything else, I'm out on. Sixers basketball next on 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small. Can't wake up without it. Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.